Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Champagne Wives podcast. I'm your host, Kelly.
And I'm your co-host, Nicole. Hey, gals.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Can we talk about this look?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about it. What about it?
Do tell. You're giving 70s Farrah Fawcett, but even prettier, melanated vibes. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I love this look for you.
You.
Denim on denim.
Denim on denim. You know, I love a good denim on denim outfit. You can ask my sister. Jean jackets are my jam. I love a good jean jacket.
That's good. I love it.
So yeah, I just had a haircut, as you are aware of. So I get the comparison to Farrah Fawcett.
It's the bangs because these are new. These bangs are new.
Yeah.
Can we tell the people about how these bangs came to be? Okay, you should. It's a great story.
I like to wear my hair natural every now and again.
Mm-hmm.
And my hair has been damaged by the heat. And so the curls in the front of my hair particularly are not popping like they usually are.
Right.
So I had about half curly hair and half straight hair after I washed my hair. So a couple of weeks ago, decided I wanted to go natural and wear my hair natural for a little while and give it a break. But my curls just, the front just was not right. The back was good, but the front just looked like a wet dog. So
not a wet dog.
I got me a pair of hair scissors, and I cut them myself. I cut off the straight pieces at the front of my hair. And then I regretted it a little bit because I was like, oh shit, what am I going to do? Because what I realized is that I have two different textures of hair in the front of my head.
Yeah.
One side is really curly and the other side is more wavy.
So you had what'd you have?
I had
4A and 4B bangs?
Oh, girl, yes, pretty much. Exactly. 4A on this side, 4B on this side.
Oh, my word.
So, my methodical ass, I made sure to cut as even as I thought was possible because I couldn't cut this side as short as I cut this side because this side was curly, obviously. So decided I needed to go to my hairstylist, child, and let her shape me up because what was I doing cutting my hair?
Let her take the reins.
But I did good, y'all.
You did.
She said I did good. She said it wasn't a bad cut. I did pretty good. So
your methodical ass.
My
give
methodical
yourself a
ass.
great cut.
I gave my own self a great cut.
Right.
And so, but she shaped it up, and here I am, child, with the bangs.
Looks great.
Thank you. I like it.
For you.
I like it. This is my new spring summer look.
Okay. I can't wait to see it in a high ponytail and maybe give it a
little swoop.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
That's a good idea.
Okay. So last week, how was your week?
It was good. I cannot think of one thing that was just out of the ordinary.
Snapped from our mind, literally.
I have nothing. Usually I know what I want to talk about in terms of how my week was, if there was anything that happened. But nothing really happened. I just think that I was riding the high of our last episode with Jackie all week because it was such a fun episode.
It was so fun.
How about you?
That was a really fun episode. And we did what we do after we recorded. The girls got together and we continued the Kiki. And I think I got some footage from it. So we might figure out a way to incorporate that into the socials.
You did.
I did. I think we were talking about something really spirited.
Yeah, we were.
We were. So this past week, let's circle back because I think the episode before Jackie was on, we talked about how I got invited to Atlanta for my job to do this, to participate on this panel for Herstory Month. And it was talking about authentic leadership. And I will say, I underprepared for this.
But you killed it.
I did well, but I underprepared for it. There was a moment right before they said action. So I work for a pretty big company and they have an auditorium and all this stuff. So people are in the auditorium, people are on the webcast virtually, and they show the pressure. Yeah, a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And, I had gone to Lenox. I landed on Sunday, went to Lenox, got a beautiful purple blazer, lilac blazer, which would be perfect for Easter. I felt like I looked ready.
Yeah.
But I wasn't mentally ready because when I sat down and they showed the participants on the screen, I realized
that's a lot of people.
I was sitting next to and doing the panel with the chief information officer, the person who reports into the CEO of the company. company, but runs all things technology for the company.
Okay.
And I said, oh,
so you were in important company.
this is some real shit.
Yeah.
And normally, like, I do my homework, and I even remember like doing prep, and he said something that was a little, I would just say, divisive. And I was like, oh, you know what? I don't think I would say that because I want to make sure that my messaging is a little bit more positive. So here I am telling the CIO, not even knowing that he's the CIO, that he needs to be more positive in his messaging. And then they all of a sudden have his name and title. And I said, oh, shit.
Yeah.
But
nothing wrong with managing up.
No,
I mean,
there isn't.
There isn't.
You're absolutely right. And he came to me afterwards and said that he was glad that like I challenged his thinking a little bit on it, and it changed. It resulted in him being a little bit more positive on his messaging.
That was the whole purpose.
But yeah, no, it was a great time. A great time. Got a lot of great positive feedback around it. And yeah, hope to have the opportunity maybe in a couple of years to do it again. But we can. No time soon.
Yeah. And when you reached out to me in our chat and said that it was really well and like it was well received and like the people that you were on the panel with, you know, my comment to you was, doesn't like being on this podcast help prepare you to be in situations like that where you may, under normal circumstances, may have been nervous or unprepared. Like this, I feel like training that we get on this podcast helps us to be real quick on our feet. Real quick. I mean, even for me.
Quick on the feet, witty, like one-liners. It almost seemed like a podcast. To the point where my boss was like, you kind of commanded the stage. I was like, well, I've had practice. Like I do
You're
the
like,
podcast.
I'm in front of the lights every week, child.
Every week. So yeah,
we do this.
Glad we got it done. Glad that it was well received. You know, and I think the best takeaway for me was the women, particularly the Black women and the women of color who came up afterwards and just that were so appreciative of how honest I was about a lot of the things that we talk about here, just juggling all the priorities, wearing all the hats. And doing that in a light way, a humorous way, a graceful way. And they were like, I just see a lot of myself in you and in your story. And that to me is like, at the end of the day, it made it worth it. So
that's why representation matters.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. And now I have people in my inbox that are like, well,
do you want to mentor me?
Right. And I'm like, I don't have time. I don't have time.
You don't have the time.
I have zero bandwidth. But thanks for asking.
It's an honor. It's an honor to be asked, but you have no time, child. Where are you going to pull it from?
Where's the hat?
You have none.
Where's the rabbit?
Dead. You have no rabbit. So not there, child.
Not there. No hair to be found.
None.
So that was just, I wanted to close the loop on that. That conversation, and I'm glad that it's done. But you know, onto other things.
Well, good job, boo.
Thanks, love. So last week Jackie was here.
Yay,
Jackie! And we had the best conversation. And for those that don't know, that was just like a normal Wednesday morning workout for us.
It felt very normal.
Yeah. That's what we do.
The conversation, like, yeah, that's just us.
That's what we do. And Jackie did talk about, we asked a couple of questions, but Jackie did talk about fitness at any age, why it's important to just live a healthy lifestyle. Doesn't matter whether you're in your 20s, in your 30s, 40s, or 50s. It's just important to live a healthy lifestyle. And I don't think that I personally realized that you shouldn't start being fit when you are fearful that everything is going to go downhill.
Go to the wayside, child.
The waist side. Yes. I don't know if I realized that in my 20s, because had I feel like I would have started my fitness journey so much sooner. Yeah. But it struck me as just something that we should probably talk about, just around what are some other things, right, that we wish that we may have known. Not necessarily, we've talked about what's something that you would tell your 20-year-old self or something like that. We've had that episode, and if you want to get caught up on it, it's in season 2. But what, going into your 40s, because I know you just celebrated a milestone birthday. I'm a couple of years on the other side of said milestone birthday. But what do you wish like you would have known going into your 40s? Because that's so much different than like going into your 30s.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought we could talk about today.
Well, I have been trying to pick your brain.
Scrambled eggs.
Whole year.
Scrambled eggs.
The whole year leading up to my 40th birthday, I had just been trying to pick your brain about like what crossing this threshold would look like. And I will say, every other age prior to 40, I was really excited about hitting the new decade.
Yeah.
This 40 decade scared the hell out of me. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. And
why?
Because it's 40, bitch. I mean, I remember when my mama was 40. What the hell? Like, even though she was still, young and vibrant, and she looked really not good. She took care of herself. But I don't know, saying that you're 40 just hits different, because the next decade after that is like 50, and even though I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life, I mean, I take care of myself. We look amazing. We're doing things that, we never thought that we would be doing. And that's all great. But it was just, I don't know. I'm not going to say fear, but I don't know, just the uncertainty of it all. Like, it was just kind of what happens after you reach that threshold, right?
Yep, I get it.
And so I was actually listening to The Breakfast Club, and Iyanla was on there. And, we reference Iyanla a lot. Iyanla, I need her to fix my life, child. There was a point in time where I really did want her to fix my life. Like, I really didn't want to go on that show, child, because I was just like, I need Iyanla screaming in my face, telling me a thing is a thing.
Right.
Because I needed the realness. But anyway, so she was on there, and something that she said struck a chord with me. And so I am going to read it to our audience and to you, what she said, and we can talk about it afterwards. But she said, a woman's training and development is in alignment with her age. And every age of a woman has a lesson, a blessing, a gift, and a grace. There are some things that a 20-year-old woman needs to hear, to do, to master, to surrender. And there are things a 30-year-old woman needs to do, to grow, to heal, to learn. And if she did not handle it at 20, now she has her 20 issues in her 30s. If it's not handled in 30s, then those issues then transition to the 40s. And that's why 50-year-old women are walking around acting like they are 30. God. Because they didn't handle their stuff. They didn't learn their lesson. They didn't master their gift and didn't know their service. And that was so powerful to me.
Damn.
And you asked the question, what do you hope that you knew? Like, what do you wish that you knew?
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's it. That is a building block.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we've been doing the work. Started probably maybe mostly in the 30s, right? Doing the work to heal, to discover ourselves, to figure out our strengths. But I think kind of contextualizing it into like each stage is a stepping stone to the next, right? And if you don't do the work in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, all that shit that you missed throughout those periods in time, you will continue to carry with you. Maturity just doesn't come by age.
Right.
It comes by work.
It does.
Right? What are you working on? What are you learning? And what are you taking with you, right, as you continue to mature in age? And that's it for me, because I would have been more serious about my journey had I, you know what I mean? Had like I conceptualized it, right? Like all of this is kind of leading me into the woman that I want to be,
right,
as I age and mature.
Yeah.
And that's it for me. Like, it's just, I am glad that we had examples of strong women in our lives to emulate ourselves after. And we've talked about our journeys multiple times over. But I just think that what was missing in understanding and knowing that, we had to be on this journey, and, each stage was a stepping stone to the next. Our experiences, our mothers, the people that we hung around with kind of filled in the gaps.
Yeah.
And we were able to make it here. So, I just feel very settled where I am, and she said another thing. She said everybody is crazy. Like everybody's dealing with issues. We all have our issues. We're all fucking crazy.
Right.
And that's true.
Nobody's exempt.
Like, nobody's exempt. Nobody is. But how are you, again, showing up as the best version of yourself? How are you, not allowing, toxicity to
Get the best of you.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So she's saying that, because that's a lot. That's a lot that she said. But basically, the lessons in your 20s you work through, the lessons in your 20s you work through in your 30s, the lessons in your 30s you work through in your 40s.
If you don't handle your business in your 20s and your 30s.
Right.
Exactly. So for me, I feel the same way. My chickens came home to roost in my 30s, child.
Did they?
They did.
Really?
Yeah, they did. I grew up very spoiled. I was very spoiled. In my 20s, same thing. I was a good person, but just very spoiled and just unaware of my power, unaware of, the things that I needed to work on. Just,
But does that make you spoiled?
No, because I was spoiled.
No, so
that does not make me spoiled, but because I was spoiled.
Okay.
I had a hard life. I had a very easy life.
Yeah.
And, I assumed things would just be easy for me all the time. And, I didn't have the time to just kind of work on myself like I've done over the last, let's just say, 7-8 years. You know what I mean? So a lot of the issues from my 20s, I did carry into my 30s. And I think my marriage helped me with growth as well, because I said it on a couple of another podcast. Like, being married to someone is just like you holding a mirror up to yourself, right? Like, you see good, bad, and ugly at the end of the day. And so I think that really helped me mature faster on my journey. But what she's saying is correct, because the same person that I was in my 20s, I was in my 30s up until a certain point. And then, certain things happened in my life in my 30s that, again, also altered my mind frame.
Right.
And, really helped me to be like, okay, what's the legacy you want to leave? How do you want to show up? What kind of woman do you want to be?
Right.
What's the example do you want to set? What do you want people to say about you when you are no longer here?
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, God.
I know. You're like, I didn't know.
I'm just like, bitch, we didn't talk about this.
But you're a few years into
I know.
it.
Oh, so I'll say this. So my 20s, I was just focused on just the aspect of freedom. Like, I had just gotten a little bit of money. Somebody acted up and decided to give me a job.
Give you a good job, child.
Good job with some good money. So I was over here not having to rub two pennies together to figure out how to make ends meet.
Yeah.
And I was just focused on living what I thought was my best life in my 20s. I was with my friends. We didn't have kids. We were educated. We were working for Fortune 50 companies. We were moving and shaking in between New York and Boston all the time. And then, I met the person who I ended up getting married to, but had been also just in relationships, right? Where, like, for me, I was like, get in where you fit in. Yeah. Like, this is kind of the life that I'm living, and like, get in where you fit in. I'm in my 20s, and I'm in a place, and I was fortunate enough to be in a place where I was just in a little bit of a better financial position than the men that I was dating at the time. So they tried to get in, but I was, for the most part, living selfishly as well. So you're not alone there. And then I met the person who I ended up getting married to, and had to make some selfless decisions in the name of love.
Yeah.
And in my 30s, I was just so focused on being a wife and eventually being a mother and being a homemaker, because I had not seen that growing up. So all of the work that I was probably on the cusp of actually doing related to self-discovery, becoming more self-aware, all that stopped because I was just focused on me became we. And then got married, had babies. And then I think for me, it was around 38 where I started getting angsty and was like, who are you? like what matters to you. These like I always say, like having kids saved my life because it forced me to think about someone and other than myself. And to operate in more of a selfless way. But I started asking some of those same questions, like, who are you? What's your purpose? What do you want people to say about you at your eulogy? Like, what's your legacy? Especially like when you have kids, like you start thinking about that. And 38, like 39 is where I started to lose my mind because I was like, what's going on? Like, is this a life I want to live? Is this the, like, am I doing the things that like set my soul on fire? And like, am I doing things that have people looking up to me? And because I know that was important for me growing up to see, we talked about representation a minute ago, but to see people who not just looked like me, but who vibed like me, right? And like, I didn't see that. But I also didn't feel like in my late 30s that I had a space to do that, given like the companies that I was working for and the circles that I was moving in. And 39, Tasmanian devil, and just like all over the place and just trying to like figure out what was important to me. 40, I was very nervous about 40. I think like that fueled a lot of the crazy energy and all the questions that I was asking myself. I think it fueled a lot of that because I was fearful of what this age meant. It's like, okay, like, is this like for the most part my midlife, given like the life expectancy of like Black females? But I think I was fearful that like 40 meant that I was getting old and aging. And come to find out, it's the time of life where I started to actually come alive the most. My kids were of an age where, yes, they still needed me and I still needed to be with them for, you know, all the right and intensive reasons. Right. But they weren't living off of me, literally, living off of me. They could go to the pantry and find a snack. Right? They could get a juice box. They could pour themselves a cup of milk. And in my 40s, I am probably feeling the most alive that I've ever felt in my entire existence, because not only am I feeling like I'm getting closer to my purpose, but I also feel like I am just, I'm getting to know myself so much better because I have the time and the bandwidth to do that. And it's a fun time. It's a real fun time right now. I remember I thought when I would turn, after talking to you, child, when I turned 40, I thought just, bitch, I was going to have this epiphany. Like the sun was going to be shining a little bit brighter. My skin was going to be a little bit better. My pee was going to be a little bit wetter. Like, I thought all the things, child. I thought like my sex drive was going to be through the roof. But all that, girl, I swear, I was waiting for just like, go to sleep 39, wake up 40. All this happened. Like, wop wopping, sun shining brighter. This is what we thought. But what was your reality? That wasn't the case. Okay. That just was not the case. And I mean, like, I had a great birthday party, like a great birthday trip. I rang it in perfectly. But those same demons like I was dealing with in my 30s, I had to still deal with them in my 40s. Exactly. So it's, again, just a kind of a transition. And I'll say too, in my 20s, it, like you, it was just all about building. For me, I thought that, okay, you're educated, like you have a good head on your shoulders, you have a career, you're the cream of the crop, bitch. Like, you just top of the top of the line, child. Back then, there was no social media. There was no, thank God. Thank God. Women's value was placed on like how smart they were, how educated they were, you know, how they were able to provide for and take care of themselves. And I put a lot of stock on that instead of like, who are you as a person? Yes. Right? And that's different now. Yes. That's so different now. Even though I'm more successful. Right. I have more, doing more. I'm so much focused now more on
who are you as a person, the inside, healing the inside.
Yes.
That's weird.
It is weird, but what I do love is that the 20-somethings now they're getting on it, right? So like they're peeped to game, Ilania's game. They're getting on it. They're doing the work now so that when they hit their 40s, it's not this brick wall that they feel like they're hitting. But I don't know if that's like a generational thing for us.
It may seem like they're hidden. They're not taking bullshit. Like they're not accepting bullshit.
Yeah.
But literally, and I know everybody's journey is their own journey.
Right.
You know, and we talk about it a lot. Like 20-somethings now, they have a high sense of value, a high sense of worth.
Yep.
Not rushing to get married. You know, the first sign of problems or red flags, they're removing themselves from the situation. No questions asked.
Because they are remembering that they're the prize.
Yeah, exactly. But internal work is something different than that, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff is external. You can control. What you can and also can't, but you can control it, but it's extremely difficult to really take a look at yourself as a person. Right. And do that internal work that needs to be done on you. Like exclusionary of everybody else and everything else that's going on.
Yeah.
You know what
because
I mean?
you have to ask yourself, what were the circumstances that led up to me allowing myself to
that part.
Allow this behavior to happen or allow myself to find myself in this situation? And that, to your point, that is the work. And I am realizing in my 40 some odd years of life that like, well, shit, like exactly what Ilania said. Like there are some wounded, what are they? Wounded father issues. Just like you tell, I've started the work. I'm not through the work, but
we're working on it.
Right. But there's wounded, and you name the person, if it's a wounded daughter, wounded father issues, wounded son issues, that I personally have had to work through to just make sure that whenever I do decide that like I want to get into partnership again with somebody, that like I'm not allowing similar needs and even like attachment styles.
The blinders are off.
Right? The blinders are off. Like what are the attachment styles that like we have as young, mid, true adults, right? That put us in situations or keep us in situations longer that just don't serve us anymore, right? So,
or attracting that energy,
right? Yeah. What energy are you emitting?
Exactly.
So I would say in my 40s, I am intentionally trying to not think my way through things as much as I have historically done that. And I know you're probably like, bitch, think. But like, I feel that I have thought my way through a lot of my situations in life and have used reasoning and logic to get from point A to point B, and have used thinking to kind of map out what I believe that the life that I'm supposed to have.
Right.
And in my 40s, in particular in this 2023 version of Nicole, I am focused more on feeling my way through and allowing my intuition and my gut and my experiences to, and, you know, I'm still thinking, but like, I'm just not relying solely on the logic side of it. I'm allowing myself to figure out what feels right for me.
Yeah.
What feels true to me. Because you can think your way through a lot of things and think that you should be here or with this person or in this place or have this level of success because of a certain age or because of a lifestyle that you think is right for you based on what you see on TV or social media. Yeah. But when you really think about how all that will make you feel, it'll have you question if that's really for you.
That's true.
So that's where I am right now, and just like really leaning into my gut versus and my heart versus my head as much, because I think my head has stopped me from doing things, and I wouldn't even say like relationally, like take that out of it, but like has stopped me from doing things that I think I know if I had those experiences today, might have put me on a different course, and a different trajectory.
Yeah. And if not now, then when? At this point, stage, if not now,
God,
then when?
At this stage.
I mean,
yeah.
Let it go. You know, for me though, it's about who do you want to be. That's right now. Like I have an image in my mind of who I want Kelly to be in this new stage and going forward.
Yeah.
And you think that it's so easy to be like, this is how I want to be. This is how I want to show up. This is how I want to present. But it's so hard to be that person. And it takes work, you know? And I don't, it's just so eye-opening to me, right? Because it does seem pretty easy to say. It's like acting, like, oh, I want to be this person. I'm going to be this person. And maybe it comes natural to some people. I don't know, child. But if somebody who you want to be, the person that you want to be goes against, you know, who you are innately, your experiences, what your mind is telling you, and all those things, you have all those factors working against you, right?
You're swimming upstream.
You're swimming upstream, exactly. And so that's when the real work comes in to say, okay, we're going to continue to do the same thing, shall? Or are we going to do something different?
Definition of insanity. Yep.
Exactly. Exactly. Definition of insanity. And so that's where I am with my journey.
So I think it's really, really interesting that you say that, because when I was 41, which was just last year, but I had
Let's be clear.
I had this same epiphany. I believe for most of my adult life, for most of my teenage, young adult, seasoned adult life,
Sprinkle.
Exactly. I had always thought about, I'd always looked at people and been like, you know what? I love that this person does that. I want to be that. I want to be like that.
Yeah.
Or I would look at someone who would have a trait or an attribute that I really admired.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even a trait or attribute. I would just be like, I want to be like that person. And on this platform and in these chairs, I've always said, like, be yourself because everybody else is taken.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, like, I really live by that now more so than I ever have, it's because for so long I was trying to cherry pick the different personalities or the different elements of people and realizing that, like, those were not true to who I am.
That's a good point.
And so in essence, swimming upstream.
Yeah.
And I am at a place today where I just say, Nicole, you are who you are. And yes, there are certain attributes, maybe certain skills that people possess that you can admire and that maybe you want to embrace and try and put in your toolbox or in your toolkit.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's not going to be their version of it. It's going to be your version because you are who you are and you're going to put your own twist and spin on it.
Correct.
So that's where I am also, is just understanding that, like, I can admire people, but I don't necessarily need to emulate people because there's a difference between the two.
Right.
And admiring and then putting your own twist on whatever it is that you admire about that person is the real gotcha.
Yeah.
Because you make it your own.
You make it your own.
So.
Yeah. And let me be clear. I wasn't saying that I want to be like, I say who I want to be.
Right. No,
okay. But I understand what you're saying. But I was like, did I say that?
You did not.
Oh, okay.
It triggered a thought in me.
But that's true, though. That's true. Because, like, for example, because I'm keen on examples. Like, you know, the moms who, like, are, like, outdoorsy and like to, like, do all these things, or who are, like, super crafty and like to bake and all that.
Yeah.
That ain't me.
Mom guilt.
Mom guilt's 100,000%. But what I realized when I tried to do that, it frustrates me more than if I'm just
a great example.
doing the things that like I love to do with my kids and just kind of making that important and a big deal, right? So yes, you're absolutely right. Like you will kill yourself trying to be something that you're not. And it makes absolutely no sense to try to step into the space of, you know, taking on somebody else's life. Like,
that's self-acceptance at its best.
Yeah, exactly.
Self-acceptance at its best.
Yeah.
And then hire to your weaknesses, right? That's what we say in HR all the time. Like when you're building a team, you know what your strengths are and you know where your opportunities are. So make sure you're building a team that can bring those strengths to the table and close the gap for you. So there are moms that I get along very well with who are amazing organizers of schedules, and we'll say, okay, we know we have this happening in 2 weeks, and so let's make sure we're doing this. Oh, you're on the team, right? Like, let's go. I'm making sure that like organically, not strategically, but organically, that I have, you know, people in my life that are going to help me in some of those areas. Yeah. So whether it's, for me, it's organization and just like building out the schedule a little bit better, so that, you know, I have a lot of moms in my life that really help me stay on top of that shit.
Yeah.
The outdoorsy stuff, that's not going to be me because I have allergies real bad. So I'm with you on that. But the mom guilt is real, and we should not allow ourselves to feel that. I love the fact that you're just like, hey, what I like is what I like, and what I want to do with my kids aligns to that. And if they like something outside of that, we're willing to try it. But if not,
but I'm not going to like break my neck, child, trying to give that to them. Like,
give them that experience.
I'm just not going to do that.
But if it's a matter of like, hey, let me sign you up for Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts so you can go camping because that's what you like.
I'm not driving back and forth to practice every day, though. I got help. That's what my babysitter, that's my daddy is.
You farm that out.
I farm that out. That would stress me out because I have, with everything that I have going on.
Yeah.
I you know, to take the extra 2-3 hours, whatever, to drive back and forth
to practice
every night is a lot.
It's a lot.
And so I think, to your point, there are certain things that can be, I'm not going to say outsourced, child, but can be like, you can get help with. It's called help. Yeah. Nothing is wrong. Nothing's wrong with, you know, seeking and getting the help that you need.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel very blessed. My mom moved down to be a full-time grandmother.
Yeah.
And she helps out a lot.
Exactly.
Shout out to Miss G.
Shout out to her. Another thing is, people like act like they can't travel with their kids. Like, that's not my ministry.
What do you mean? Like go on vacations?
Go on vacations without their kids. Like if they're with their spouses, they can't leave their kids and like go on vacation with just them and their spouse. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Like there will be a family vacation and there will be vacations for me and my husband that we have worked hard to afford for ourselves. Yeah. So I just don't subscribe to that. And for a long time, like, I was just like, well, am I doing something wrong? Like is something wrong with me? Because like, you know, I can leave my kids and go on vacation with just my husband and I, but I had to get over that. Yeah. Because
quickly.
Yeah. That's just, to me now, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I do travel without my kids. So, but then I travel with them too.
Right.
Trust me, they have passports.
It's a balance, right? It's a balance. Yeah. It's definitely a balance. My kid said, Mommy, this summer we want to go to Jamaica. Okay.
Make it happen.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Let's figure it out. Okay. So last question. When did you feel grown? When did you feel grown? And it might not be now, it might have been earlier, but when did you feel like I'm a grown ass woman?
I probably have said I was grown a lot in the past, but I really did not. I really was not grown. I feel the grownest that I've ever been right now in my life.
Really?
Yes. Oh. Because I've taken on, you know, personal accountability. You know, I am continuously, like it's never ending, but continuously doing the work on myself. Obviously, I have family, I have a husband, I have children. There are, you know, people who depend on me, who count on me. You know, it's been a journey. It's been a journey. It has been. But now I feel that I am settled and more comfortable in, you know, my adulthood as well as my womanhood. And I see value in that.
Yeah.
And I know the value that I bring to the table as a person, as a woman, as a wife, as a mom, as a friend. And, in all the facets of my life. And I think that now is the time where I feel like I am an adult and I feel the most grown.
The most grown.
Yeah.
I thought I felt really grown after these 2 babies. I thought I did. And then I realized that that wasn't the case.
Yeah. Having babies don't make you grown, child.
It doesn't. But I would have to agree with you that in these last 2 years, I have felt the most grown, where I have felt that I can make significant decisions that could very much alter the course of my life and still be okay and still survive.
Yeah.
Right. And still be successful and still thrive. Still be a good friend, a great daughter, a great mother, a great leader, a great associate, a mentor. Call it, the roles go on and on.
Yeah.
So I would say it's been within the last 18 to 24 months where I felt like, okay, yeah, you're grown.
You're doing the thing.
Yeah. And then with all that, it's, I've accepted my womanhood. I've accepted the fact that at some point, that's going to change. But when, age sets in and whatever happens with women, right? But right now, I feel the healthiest, the strongest, the sexiest, the most capable, the most aware, the most competent that I think I've ever felt. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a real fun time.
It's a real fun time. We talk about it a lot, and I'm going to put a stamp on it. But just stepping into, our femininity as women, and you ran off a whole list of things, but I think a lot of times women get misconstrued around what femininity is, and it's not just looking good, or getting this or getting this done or that done, or even like I said, in our 20s, being successful, having those careers, but it's just really an aura about us that I think that again, it's just a lot of the times completely untapped. Yeah. It's in how we carry ourselves. You know what I mean? It's about, understanding, again, our worth, our value, what we bring to the table outside of, sex or how our looks or whatever the case may be, and understanding that the buck stops with us, and we can starts with us. Absolutely, you're correct. And so in learning that power is in the tongue, but power is also in silence. Yeah, and there's a lot that can be said without saying anything, child.
Absolutely. And I think as women, I know I was a victim of this, especially in my 20s when I was amassing and I had jobs that were paying great money. They paid me way too much in my 20s. But that impacted my thinking, right? And I think it put me, and I know we try to steer clear of this in these chairs, but it really put me in my masculine energy. And I am at a place now where I'm that energy does not serve me. And I know where my true power really does lie. Yeah. My power lies in my ability to influence, not necessarily do. Right. And to your point, that influence sometimes comes without saying anything.
You don't have to chase. You always say it. We don't chase, we attract.
And so it's a real fun time. Yeah. It's a real fun time to be alive.
I agree. I'm looking forward to 41, child. I'm gonna start all over. I'm gonna wake up the day after my birthday on 41, and all those things that I ran off are gonna be there.
That's my hope and prayer for you. But you know what I did? I celebrated 40 twice.
You know what?
So maybe that's what you gotta do.
Maybe that's what I gotta do, because I feel really, really good.
I celebrated 40 twice. Pandemic tried to take it away from me, but we just redid it.
You just redid it. That's what I might just redo it. Not as big, child. We're gonna do it on a much smaller scale. Please. Yeah, I may run that thing back again, child.
Love it. Okay, so let's cheers on to aging like fine wine in our 40s on our last little sips. And let's transition to what's poppin'.
Okay, you want me to go?
Oh, please.
Okay, so my what's poppin' this week is, and I think I got to find it, child.
I know, because the way.
Bear with me.
The internet.
Oh. So Black China has deleted her OnlyFans that was bringing in millions, got baptized, changed her name, removed her implants and fillers, and got her demonic tattoos removed. I gotta love that glow up. I think it's appropriate for the conversation that we're having. Now, I don't know what this means in her journey, right, for like self-discovery and healing. But I think this is a step in the right direction. And I just love the fact that she's trying to find herself. She's trying to like undo some of the harm that she's done to herself and her body. And I love that for her. And I don't know where she got the inspiration, because her and her mom's relationship is pretty volatile. I don't think she stood a chance like from the beginning. You know what I mean? Like I pretty much think like her destiny was already laid out based off of like where she came from. So I'm just very happy that she has, I don't know whether it be on her own just epiphany or if she's had like a mentor or somebody else to kind of help guide her in this direction. But I'm just like really happy for her.
I am too, because the internets were creating really scary situations. They weren't creating, but they were showcasing some really scary situations of like her holding people captive in hotel rooms and like looking like she had panda eyes, if you know what that means.
No,
like,
what is that?
Apparently, like panda eyes, it's like
dark around the eyes.
Yeah, where you have like just like dark circles around your eyes, and it's a sign of like doing like too many drugs and maybe a specific drug.
Okay.
If you look at like Krishan or even Blueface, like they. Maybe pre-pregnancy, but I know she definitely did have panda eyes, and Blueface still does. So, I'm really happy that this is the path that she's on, and I hope it's a path that allows her to ultimately spend more time with her kids, because from at least what we saw on reality TV, which isn't real, but she seemed to get a lot of energy and joy from motherhood. And so I hope that whatever it is that she's doing puts her on a path that gets her closer to her kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's probably a huge factor in why she's deciding to now change course. So whatever kids have a way of wanting, making you try to be your best self.
Yeah, they do.
Making you want to be your best self.
They do.
So, I don't know, just happy for her. I saw that and I was just like, okay.
And she looks gorgeous.
She looks gorgeous. She was a gorgeous girl before all of that.
She was.
But again, and we've talked about it in this episode, child, that self-esteem, like Jackie, you said, if you don't do the inner work, it doesn't even matter what you do on the outside, child. You're still going to feel horrible.
So true. So true. So I'm rooting for China.
Me too.
I'm rooting for China. I'm hoping that her mother stays far away from her, because that's just, to your point, doesn't seem like a relationship that is going to contribute to her being the best version of herself, to be honest. So I'm hopeful that she's done this for like the right reasons. And I'm hopeful that she hasn't done this for social media. I'm hoping that she sticks with it. Looks like she deleted her OnlyFans, in which she was like getting millions of dollars from that. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I mean, maybe
it's huge.
It's huge. Maybe we could have pivoted that to something else.
Just let it go. You got to jump all in. You can't put your toe in.
Okay, child.
You got to jump all in.
Right, well,
you got to go all out.
Okay, well, maybe she made the money she needs to make. And she doesn't need that coming from a toxic
retirement plan, child.
Yeah, a detrimental source.
Assume she have a retirement plan.
That's the hope.
And a plan B.
Not the pill, but...
Not the pill, child.
Okay.
A plan. An actual plan to make money.
Okay. Cheers to Black China. And listen, we vote for Black women here all the time. So my what's poppin' is about this wife who reportedly abandoned her husband and hit the streets after she lost close to 150 pounds.
Oh.
And I think it's so appropriate after we connected with Jackie. Now, I don't know how she lost the weight.
Baby.
But there is this reel, okay? And it shows her her embracing of the fitness journey and her post embracing the fitness journey. Titties out, ass out, waist out, nips out, just out. She's out. OWT out. And I guess the question is, WWYD, if you lost all this weight, and her husband seems to be a little portly, okay?
Portly.
Wow, she out here twerking that thing. Portly.
What's that mean, child?
Heavy. He thickums.
Okay.
In the wrong places. But what would you do? Would you...
Not the wrong place.
In the wrong places.
Stop.
But I mean, let us let you see this, child.
Stop.
She...
Yes.
She out there. So what would you do? You lose all this weight, you get fit, you get you get fit, you get healthy. Like, you try to convince your husband, hey, I went on this journey, see what it did for me? What are you doing? And if he's choosing not to.
Did she try to convince him? Or
let's just say she did.
I doubt it.
Let's just say she
doubt it. Girl, are they boyfriend and girlfriend? Or are they husband?
They're husband and wife.
Oh.
Husband and wife.
Ooh.
You do the things to do the glow up.
But again, it's external. I still feel like whatever issues she has those chickens are gonna come home to roost, child. And now she got a new body. She's looking good. She's getting attention from, the mailmen, the mailmen. So of course she probably feeling herself right now.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's all temporary. And
that man loved you when you were thickums. He loved you when your fupa was fupa-ing.
People are humans. I mean, humans are gonna. There's a human element to that. Like, everyone loves attention, and I don't know her story. I don't know if she was heavy like all of her life, or if she was once smaller and gained weight, and now she's back smaller again. I don't know, but I think I'll give her that. Like, I'm sure the attention is very addicting. Very addicting. Yeah. And so it takes a very strong person to be able to just kind of like, I don't know, like block all of that attention and not let it go to your head.
Right.
So that you don't make like fucked up decisions. But that's not my story, child. Like, I don't even have my hypothetical child.
I know. We over here trying to see how it would be, but that's not our story.
That's not my story. I don't know. Like, is she wrong?
For leaving her husband to hit the streets?
Her husband, if he was a good husband, if he took care of her and, provided for her, loved her, rooted for her, was supportive of her going on this journey. And, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But if not, then no. If he was just a horrible husband and, all the things. Yeah. But yeah, if he was a good husband, she's wrong.
Yeah. I think anytime one person embarks on a fitness journey and the other person doesn't and needs to, it's a recipe for disaster.
It's a recipe for disaster.
It's a recipe. So it's one of those things where if someone gets that fitness bug, you better find that bug too and get bit by it and get on that journey too.
Baby.
Listen.
I'm telling you.
It's a recipe for disaster is the only thing I will say.
Every time.
Someone gonna end up leaving the marriage.
Somebody.
Or relationship. So
every time.
Okay. Well, that's the episode.
Yeah. Cheers, boo.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you. Embracing your 40s, aging like fine wine.
Fine wine.
Love that for us. If you want to follow us on Instagram, Champagne Wives Podcast. If you want to email us, if you have questions, we love to answer them. And we love to hear your feedback too. So thanks for sharing all that. But if you want to email, you can email us at champagnewives@gmail.com, TikTok champagnewives_podcast. And we will see y'all next week.
Same time, same place.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.